Oh, I wish you could wear my shoes for just a few minutes to know what this has been like. I've got 3 more clips from that Senate hearing. This is a clip from a Dr. Jim Thorpe. He is a specialist in maternal fetal medicine and had done 260 surgeries the time he gave this testimony. And here it comes.
It is extremely difficult not to see the fetus as a child before birth with the same value as a child after birth, especially after one sees her smiling, grimacing, moving, sleeping, yawning, urinating, stretching, sucking a thumb, as well as responding to pain from needle sticks.
And Senator Brownback asked the doctor, how does the in utero child act when you try to give them a shot in the womb? And this was his response.
Same reaction that if you have children, or that Samuel has when they go to the doctor's office and they have to get shot. They pull away, and then you have to chase them in the womb. Which is actually, I feel, confined in there. I mean, unless you can catch it. There's absolutely no question. It's the same way that you would expect a child, a newborn, in a doctor's office.
You have to chase them in the womb with a needle. There's another one right up there with the other 2. I have one more clip from the doctor. He sums up.
Nations, societies, and governments will ultimately be judged by the way that they treat their weakest, their most vulnerable, their most innocent, including the child within the womb. I will close with a quote from just this past June 9th, lead article in Newsweek by Claudia Kell. And I quote, no matter what legislatures, activists, judges, or even individual Americans decide about fetal rights, medicine has already granted unborn babies a unique form of personhood as patients. Thank you.
And along those lines, I should say that Samuel's parents' health insurance company paid the $35,000 for the experimental surgery on him. This was 10 years ago, and they thought he was worth the investment. You know how when you're at home, the phone rings and you go look at the caller ID to see if you're going to answer the phone? Well, it was November 2003. I had the day off. It was a rare thing for me. And the phone rang, and I did that very thing. I went and looked at the caller ID. There were no numbers. It said the White House. And I thought, wow, this is a great marketing idea because I'm taking this call. And it was a member of the White House inviting me to attend the signing into law of the ban on partial birth abortion because they thought the picture was influential in passing the House. Picture, I lost count at over 5 million people that had come to my website. And I'd sent this picture, digital files of this photograph in at least 20 languages around the world. meandtranslate.com. It's a wonderful free website, but you have to know what language people are speaking when they email you. So it's not as easy as it seems. I have one more sound clip coming up. About all the ways that this picture has been used over the years. Maybe some of you saw the episode of the Dr. House TV show that recreated my photograph. This is a clip from that. This next little clip here was from Fox News. They did this in May, anticipating the 10-year anniversary reunion of the photograph. And the second paragraph there, you can probably read it better than I can. It's a quote from Samuel. When I see that picture,
first thing I think of is how special and how lucky I am to have God use me that way. Same as old Foxy Bethlehem. I feel very thankful that I was in that picture.
wow. I mean, can you imagine? So one of the things I didn't realize, I guess it's the way I brought up, I just kind of like people to like me. When I started my website, I got hate mail. I've been called every name in the book. By both sides. I can't understand the Christian theology behind only the dregs of society would consider aborting their children. We don't want them to stop. We don't want them to reproduce. Stop what you're doing. I just can't understand. That's Margaret Sanger's theology that created Planned Parenthood. But then there's the emails from women that say you're a man and you have no right to an opinion about abortion. And you know, I used to think those were funny, but I was offended by them. But you know what? She was right. And I think a lot of men, you know, we have a saying down south, my dog is not in that hunt. And it's just not something that I thought was my problem. It was up to women to decide whether it was legal or not. And I think that until men stand up for women, this is going to continue to victimize them. This is such a terrible, terrible thing. I've received hundreds of emails from girls as young as 12 years old that could not go through with an abortion because they saw this picture. And all of the emails, I've got 10,000 saved emails that just break my heart. One email was from a man and his wife had just been, found out she was pregnant. They were sent to a counselor. And the counselor said, you're going to have a spina bifida baby. We recommend you abort this child. And he went on in his email and he said, Michael, we're Christian. We're very active in our pro-life community. And he said, but behind closed doors, we questioned our strength, we questioned our faith. Could we truly raise a child that we had to do everything for? And you could tell that he agonized over this decision. And on the day little Amelia was born, he was staring over the nurse's shoulder as she got her first medical exam. He was so excited, she looked so healthy, explained to the nurse she's supposed to have spina bifida. And the nurse turned the little girl over and said, see the birthmark on her back? It gives a false positive to the spina bifida test. He said his knees buckled. And he just fell to the ground and started crying because of how close he had come to aborting his little girl. And I've had emails from women that have had 5 abortions, and one woman, she couldn't get the voices of her unborn children out of her head. And the men, thousands of men that are in their 40s and 50s, and 30 years earlier paid for an abortion, and they aborted the only child they would have had, and not a day goes by that they aren't sad just thinking about what that child would have been. This country needs to heal, and we're not going to heal until we stop what's happening. The estimate of 50 million babies aborted, this doesn't allow for repeat abortions, but that means 100 million adults chose that fate for their child. That is 1/3 of our country. Are we going to wait for half of us to have killed an unborn baby and have the blood on our hands? The women, everywhere I go, someone comes to me and they just fall apart because they can't forgive themselves for aborting their baby. But I could go on and on reading emails, but I've got 2 more that I have to tell you about. One is an email from a grandmother thanking me for the life of her only grandchild because her daughter saw the picture and couldn't go to a planned appointment at Planned Parenthood for an abortion. And then when I think that I can't go on any further, this is 10 years of this, I lost my career over it. I'm now a pro-life activist and the newspapers won't hire me. And when I think I just can't do this any longer, you know the demons that come at each one of us, and at least they come at me and they say, you're just one man, who do you think you are? It's just a picture, get over it, move on with your life.